Hello, my friends, and welcome to today's podcast episode. Thank you for joining me here in this space. Today, I want to talk about this liminal time of the year. We are currently in August, and I know that this month and this time of the year can be really challenging. It's a funny kind of the month. On one hand, for many of us, our normal working schedules are disrupted because the kids are off school. Our schedule is often impacted, and the days are long. The weather can be hot. It's certainly been very, very hot at the moment. Our sleep can be impacted. Certainly for those of us who are female and are going through perimenopause, like myself, my sleep has been impacted. It's been so hot and experiencing on and off the symptoms of perimenopause, like, some of the hot flashes and the impact on my sleep. It's actually been really quite challenging at times. And it can be a month that so many of us want to slow down. Certainly, I can feel within my body wants to slow down. My body wants to rest. My body wants to take more leisurely time and enjoy the long days at a slower pace, slower rhythm. And there are other parts of me that are reminding me that I need to prepare for the busy autumn. When September rolls in, October rolls in, this is going to be a very busy time in my business. How do I know? Well, I know because that's happened for many years now. And certainly over the last 4 or 5 years since I started running training certifications, the trauma-informed yoga teacher training, and then the last couple of years, trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women training certifications. The September and October are really busy because the next cohort of the big training, the coaching training, starts on the 4th of October. And so I know it's going to be quite a busy time. And so this wanting or needing within my whole being, those two different things of wanting to rest and needing to rest, needing slower pace, needing time to recover a little bit from the heat and the much shorter nights. And, I'm an early bird. I wake up the moment sun comes up. I'm awake. I'm ready for the day. And sometimes, that means not getting enough sleep. So having to rest during the day, taking time for meditation and some embodied somatic practices or even yoga nidra to really allow my body to have enough rest. And also, really tuning in to what's needed in here and starting to review how the year has been so far. And then looking towards the rest of the year and asking myself, well, how do I want the rest of the year to be? And also the next year, but primarily the last 4 months of the year, September, October, November, December, how do I want those 4 months to be? What is the perfect schedule that would really support me in my life and in my business? You might have heard me say that before, that you cannot effectively plan unless you do a review first. You really have got to do that first, because how do you know what's working, what you are enjoying, what you want to do more of? And how do you know very clearly what's not working and what's not aligned anymore? What's annoying you within your life and your business? What do you really need to let go of to take that next step in the direction that you want to be moving in? This is a really, really, important stuff. How do you know what you want to grow in your life and business if you don't pause to take this time to reflect and review? This is certainly when, I talk about our Embodied Business Mandala mentorship and mastermind circle for female practitioners who want to work in nervous system regulated way, who want to grow their business that is aligned with their values, with the essence of their work, and with what's most important to them to share in this life through their work. And, in our Embodied Business Mandala, we do quarterly planning retreat. It's quarterly seasonal planning retreat because everything that I do and how I teach my clients is to bring this seasonality, this um, way of working where we embrace our cycles, where we embrace the nature and how we work with nature in a best way, where we embrace the rhythm of our work, of our body, of our being. And so, this is something that we will be doing in September. And by the way, if you want that kind of support, if you'd like to join our Embodied Business Mandala mentorship and mastermind circle for a whole year or 6 months, there is a new kind of option that I added in. And you'd like to join us in September and do the quarterly seasonal planning retreat with us, which is a 3-hour masterclass workshop, and really have this kind of support for the whole year with us, then reach out and go to my website, anetaitchak.com, check out all the deeds, all the information, and come and join us. One of the things that I have learned over the last 14 years of being self-employed and the last over 8 years being fully self-employed is that certainly having support is one of the things that helped me to grow a sustainable, thriving business that I absolutely love. Because we all have blind spots. We all get caught up in our stories. We are all creatures of habit, doing the same things again and again. And it's fascinating to see how we will try to do more of the same thing. Somehow we convince ourselves, and the mind will tell us that if we only try harder, if we only work harder, if we only go all in, it will work. And so we try to do the same of what we've done before, and it never works, because when we are doing things in the same way, we get the same results. And so if you want to have different results, you will have to start doing things in a different way. And so having support of mentors and coaches and having support of community of other women who are really wishing you the best, who are supporting you, championing you, holding space for you for when you're struggling, celebrating your successes, when you're achieving your goals and milestones, when you are really happy about the results of the hard work that you're putting in, is so important. And so my invitation to you is to slow down, to pause, to take some time to reflect on the last 8 months of this year and really connect with on that felt experience level. Like, what have you enjoyed in your business? What really gave you this feeling of connection with yourself, with others, with life? What made you feel like this is it? I'm doing this work and this is what I believe in. This is the essence of my work. I want to do more of that. When you take time to really connect with those feelings within you and you see in your data, this is what's working. And then you can start planning ahead for the rest of the year and the next year of doing more of those things. And it might be, certainly sometimes that can be a situation that you love doing something, but actually, from a business point of view, from a financial point of view, it's not really giving you the results that you want. Maybe you're not earning enough money from it. Maybe you're putting too much time into it. So even though you are loving it, loving doing it, working with your clients, delivering the results for them, it's still kind of draining, or you're working all sorts of hours. And so really understanding that sometimes things work and sometimes fully, and we want to keep doing it in the same way. And sometimes things work because it's the essence of what we do and what we love, but we need to change the format of how we're doing it. And that's often to do with the business model, how we structure our business, what are the kind of offerings that we are doing. So a really great example is, I've worked for many years with yoga teachers, mentoring yoga teachers. And so many of us have been taught in our yoga teacher trainings that the business model to embrace is to do lots of group classes, which, typically people charge anything from like £5 to £12. And you have to do them every single week. So many yoga teachers that I've worked with, worked week after week after week after week, hardly taking any time off. Many yoga teachers that I've worked with, were doing 15, 20 group classes a week and still struggling financially. And so they loved what they were doing. They loved working with their clients, with their students, but financially, it was not working. And so within my business program, the group one and one-to-one, we looked at, so how do you change your business model? And there are simple shifts that you can do. You could start working with clients one-on-one. Energy, when you think about time, energy, and money, an hour of delivering a group class in the studio when you are paid £25 an hour versus a one-to-one session with a client, which can pay anything between, 45 to £65 or even more, depending on your specialism and how you work. There is a huge difference here. Or creating a course, like 6 or 8 week course, which again is something that I teach in my programs, where it's a start date and finish date. You take your clients on a journey of transformation. You teach them tools. You give them homework, and it's much deeper experience and transformation for your clients and your students. And you can charge much more money for it because the transformation is deeper. And so doing the same work, the essence of the work is the same, and yet the structure is different. The same goes for coaches that I work with. I've worked with coaches that are quite successful or very successful in their one-to-one coaching business, and yet they are working very long hours, working evenings and working weekends, and just about earning enough money, but having a lot of experience to create a group coaching program where, again, they can charge more money, they can pre-record things, they can go much deeper into transformation with their clients, and they can work with clients in a different way, and then creating one-to-one sessions as a much higher offer because they give so much more to their clients in that session. So really thinking about what's working. What do you want to do more of? Looking at your weekly schedule. That's a big one for me. Looking at your weekly schedule and thinking, how can I manage effectively my time? Preferably, for me, it's very important that I have got some days where I do not see any clients and I don't deliver any training, that I work on my business, I create resources, I create trainings, I work on projects. And then I have got days that I deliver training and that I focus on one-to-one clients or my programs. This balance allows me to really focus on what I need to do, what I want to create. So shifting from this urgency, it needs to be done right now, right now, right now, because I haven't done it, I haven't had time to do it. And, I've been saying for the last 5 months that I'm going to create this freebie and it's not happening. Into, okay, I have got, every Monday or every Tuesday or every Wednesday, whatever day, this is the day I'm working on those important things that are not urgent, but I know they're so important, they will make a huge difference in my business. And, the same goes for our lives. Like, is your practice that you are doing right now working for you? Or maybe you are so busy running from one thing to another, saying yes to everything, that you do not have time for your own practice, for your own self-care. And so that moves us to the second part of it, from what's working and what do you want to do more of, into what's not working. And the invitation in here from me is for you to notice all of those things that feel difficult, that annoy you, that you feel frustrated with. It's simply those things, they don't feel aligned anymore. And that just every time that you go to do them, there is either this anxiety that comes up, or there is this heavy feeling in your stomach or in your body, or there is a sense of annoyance that comes up, or a sense of resentment. These are the messages from your embodied wisdom telling you that you need to pay attention to something, telling you, please pause, notice me, something is not working. Can we change that? And this requires you to be very honest with yourself, to move away from pretending, from doing your best to continue patch it up and keep going with it. The sooner you acknowledge that it's not working, the sooner you make a decision to change it, the quicker you will change it in your reality and you will start getting different results. So what's not working? What's annoying you? What are you frustrated with? What are you feeling resentful about? Start by changing it. Start by making decision. That's it. That needs to change. I'm going to change it. So if you are feeling annoyed and resentful and exhausted or even burnout because you are working so hard and you are undercharging and you are seeing everybody else charging more money, change it. Raise your prices just a little bit. Not too much that you go into complete freeze and you stop promoting your services because you're so freaked out, but just a little bit. A little bit, you know, changing your prices, one-to-one prices by £5 for everybody will make a huge difference. £10 will make a even bigger difference. Maybe it's time for you to start honoring all the experience that you have, all the transformation, amazing transformation that you provide for your clients. Maybe it's time for you to really start honoring all the hard work that you've put into being a great practitioner and start really charging for it. And of course, if it feels like you need some support around developing your skills and you want to work in trauma-informed somatic way, come and join us in our next cohort of 160-hour trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women training certification. Spend a year with us, or 9 months, 10 months with us in our circle and connect with other practitioners. Our next cohort is starting on the 4th of October, and we run for 9 months, 10 months, really. So there are things that you can do when you notice that this is not working and you're really honest with yourself. Then you can seek solutions to resolve that. If you are not honest with yourself at the beginning, then even if you start looking for solutions, those solutions might not be aligned. Those solutions will be hit and miss because you haven't identified exactly what the problem is. When we are working with our clients, this is exactly the same. We have to identify the problem and then we provide solution. We have to meet our clients where they are at. What is it that they are wanting and what is it that they are needing? There needs to be a degree of honesty, compassionate honesty. So we're not doing it to take out a big stick to bash ourselves over the head or allow our clients to do that because we are so bad, because we are not worthy, we are not good enough. We're doing it to get a little bit more clarity about the direction in which we need to go to. And then we can decide what's the next step. So the conversation that I often have with many female practitioners is that, there is a variation of it when they come and they say, I'm feeling stuck. I don't know what's the next step. I don't know what to do. And I've had it so often now that it always makes me smile because it's such a common experience. Maybe you can relate to it. It's that feeling stuck, not knowing what's the next step and looking for somebody to tell you what's the next step, what the next step that you need to take in your business. And it comes from really this misunderstanding of, that we all do unconsciously, that we want to look at the strategy, we want to look at what we need to do, what's the next step, that there are steps. If only I knew the steps to take, then I could do it. But there is a vital piece of missing here. Before we do that, we actually first have to have clarity about our vision, our mission, the essence of our work. And we need to have clarity about the direction that we need to move in. If we do not have this piece worked out, if we don't have clarity about this, we cannot take a step in that direction. Then we try to take steps, but they might be not aligned with the direction that we want to go into. And so this is a vital piece to work out. And this is why we're talking about this today, for you to pause, reflect, review what's working, what's not working, and then plan to move forward. This is that piece that we need to do. Once you know that, it becomes no-brainer. It's like, oh, of course, I know what's the next step. This is clear, so clear. And so spending this time, is your business model right for you? Like I changed my business model a number of times that over the years, from having a yoga and wellness studio, brick and mortar in my local, in the place where I live, to working from my home and seeing clients in my home studio, in my home treatment room, to working online. From running 12 group classes and lots of one-to-one coaching and yoga and Thai yoga massages in my yoga and wellness studio, to then doing it in my home, to then doing it online and delivering training online, delivering mentoring and coaching online. There are many different things that you can do and run your business in so many different ways. What do you like the most? When I closed my yoga and wellness studio, I continued running group classes from different venues in my local place where I live, in my town, but also in other cities where I had to drive 20, 30 minutes one way. And, checking everything against your nervous system. This kind of model did not work for me. I only did it for traveling to other cities. I think I only did it for about 8 months. And I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. It was so dysregulating for me. I did not like it. I remember at that time, I also was traveling around UK. I went to Sheffield and Birmingham delivering training, mindset training and mindfulness training, and to apprentices. And again, going over somewhere, having to stay overnight. I'm not that great sleeping in new places. It just, again, I did it for a year. It didn't work for me. I didn't like it. I liked delivering the training. I liked working with my clients. I loved working with apprentices. young people. It's really, really amazing. And the business model of traveling a lot around the country and staying in different places to do that did not work for me. And so you really need to be honest with yourself. If something doesn't work, acknowledge it. Honor your own embodied wisdom. Make changes as you move forward. Ultimately, within your own business, this is why we started working for ourselves, to be able to make those decisions for ourselves. And, I have to acknowledge that it can take time to make those changes. And for most people, I would never recommend that you just burn everything down to the ground and you start new in a completely different way. For some people, for a minority, that can work, but that can be extremely difficult on our nervous system. And it can be really dysregulating. So my suggestion to you would be to do it slowly. Have a look at what doesn't work, what's the biggest thing, what is the priority that needs changing, and changing that. Or changing things that are easy to change, that are no-brainer. And then slowly over time, each quarter, to do that kind of review and keep changing things. I keep doing it all the time. I keep assessing, changing, shifting, changing my pricing, changing how I work within my weekly schedule, changing the kind of projects that I'm working on. Some of the projects I am continuing, some of the projects I'm continuing in the same way, some are different. So, for example, right now I'm recording lots of interviews and sessions for my second virtual summit. I did a virtual summit a couple of years ago in 2022. But the way that I ran that summit was I did everything myself. All the marketing, all the marketing materials, all the interviews and behind the scenes work for it. And I also ran the summit live, which meant that for 5 days, I showed up live on Zoom with the presenters, interviewing them there and then, and for them running the sessions. And so at the end of that week, I was absolutely exhausted. My whole body and mind were fried. I remember feeling so exhausted that I cried on that last day because my body ached, my brain ached. Being an introvert and highly sensitive, being in a public view like this for the whole week was a little bit too much for my system. And so it's taken me a couple of years to decide to run again the summit. I wanted to run it. I even started planning it last year for this spring. And interestingly, the time that I was supposed to run the summit in March this year, I actually ended up in hospital and with blood transfusions and operations. So just as well that I didn't plan it. It wouldn't have happened in the end. And so this time I'm running the summit in a different way. All the sessions will be pre-recorded, and I am recording them now. And I will also I'm running it as a collaboration with other practitioners, with a couple of other practitioners who are also graduates of my 160-hour training, who I've worked with for quite a while, and I love their work, and they bring a different flavor through their work. And I'm also, everything will be pre-recorded, and we will have a pop-up Facebook group where we will do lots of live stuff. And so it's the project as summit you might say it's the same project, and yet it's structured in a very different way. I also have got a VA support this time. We were using a lot of marketing material from the last summit, so there is lots less work. We're using my learning platform, Simplero. It's structured differently, and therefore it feels like it's very different energy. Not that there is less work, but it's the effect and the intensity of that work is different. And so I know that I will be able to focus on creating a community in our pop-up group. I will be able to be fully present for engaging with people rather than having to hold the space for the interviews and the sessions themselves. So can you see how differently you can do things? The same project structured differently, doing the essence of your work, but maybe within a different business model, with slightly different offerings for different pricing. So then the results are different in the end. So really, I'd like to invite you to take this time to reflect, to pause, to reflect, and then look towards the future, to the rest of the year, to the next year, to make changes that you need to make in your business and in your life. If you want to do more meditation, if you want to do more somatic movement, if you want to do more journaling, how can you allocate that time? Because you can't make time. Listen to what you say to yourself. You can't make time for it. You need to allocate the time for it in your diary on a regular basis to nurture this garden, to nurture those seeds, to really tender to them, to love them fully. If you want something to grow, whether it's your health, your business, your relationships, your self-connection and self-love, you need to tender to it on a daily basis, just like you would do to the seeds that you planted, just like you would tender to your garden. And so I hope that through today's episode, I convinced you how important it is. One of my favorite ways of really doing this kind of work is to take my notepad and go for a walk. Either sit in my garden sometimes, and sometimes just go for a walk. I live by the sea, so sitting on the beach or sitting on a bench with the view of the sea and just spending a little bit of time dreaming, reflecting in that very relaxed, soft way, away from my computer, away from my office, being in a different environment and connecting with the support of my environment and allowing myself to dream, allowing myself to think about what would be wonderful. What's the kind of excitement about? What do I have space for now that I've let go of all these frustrations and the things that are not aligned? What would be fun to do in this my one and only life? And as the work is the expression of the values and the essence of what's important to me in this life, how can I embrace it and honor it a little bit more? How can I allow my soul to speak through me in my business and in my life? So let me just leave you with one last thing. If you do need support, there are free ways. And if you resonate with what I've just been talking about, there are free ways that I can offer support to you and the free ways that you can work with me. If you feel like you need to take your work to a step higher, level higher, then check out the information about our next cohort starting on the 4th of October of 160-hour trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women training certification. It's amazing, amazing, amazing training where women come together, learn about the nervous system, learn about the Soma Psyche Soul coaching method. And it's a deeply, and how to work with clients, but it is a deeply healing program. And one of the feedback that I get from women who participate in it is how life-changing it has been for them, how transformational it's been for them, for their own relationship with themselves. And of course, relationship with others, how they work with other women and with their clients. Check that out. If you feel that you would benefit from building confidence in your skills, if you want to train as a coach and a trauma-informed somatic teacher, check it out and come and join us. And if you feel that you need support, that you already have got a lot of confidence in how you are as a practitioner, but you'd like some support in building your business that is sustainable, profitable, thriving, then come and check the Embodied Business Mandala mentorship and mastermind circle. And in September, there are now 5 spaces left. There are 5 openings in that program. It's a 1-year program. Come and join us. Come and join other women and work on your business in that very, very supportive space, a space that works with those values of nervous system regulation and creating a business that works for you on your own terms, that is sustainable and profitable. Or there is one other thing. Let me just mention it really quickly. In November, end of November, I'm running my first in-person retreat. I used to run in-person retreats, primarily day retreats before the pandemic, and I paused it completely because of the pandemic and developing my training institute. And it feels like now is the time to reconnect again in person. And so I am running and co-hosting in-person retreat called Reconnect with Your Embodied Feminine Wisdom. And it's a 4-day in-person retreat in the Cotswolds at the end of November. I'm hosting it with my friend and colleague Isabel Griffiths, and we will be holding space. We will be learning practices, trauma-informed somatic practices, exploring the heroine's journey. And we will take you over the 4 days on a journey of coming and connecting in women's circles. It's a small, small retreat for just 10 women, connecting with other women in circle, practicing, going deeply into our own process, learning tools to work with clients, and then looking at embodied feminine leadership and making a plan to how to bring it into your work. So having a really clear plan of next steps. So those 3 ways of working with me are open to you. If you resonate with what I'm saying, and if you feel like you need support on any of those levels and you want to connect, come and join me in one of those offerings. This is the essence of the work that I do wholeheartedly through my soul's calling. And as I planned out the rest of the year, these are the things that I am focusing on and embracing and honoring fully. So I wish you a really great rest of the summer and take care of yourself and happy reflecting and planning.